Welcome to Coffee Time with Rhea and Amber, bitch. Maybe I shouldn't have said bitch. No, bitch. Is there any what?
Look at, I drank almost all my coffee. I was waiting for Rhea to poop.
No, I didn't. I peed. That's so not okay for you to say.
For 20 minutes?
It was not 20 minutes.
Be honest, tell them the truth.
No, I had cream on my hat. I had to wash the cream on my hat because of the last video. And my sweater was dirty and I was trying to get the cream off my sweater. I shit, but that's not what I did. At least I can admit it, miss. You don't, you're like, not me.
I do poop, but rabbit poops.
Rabbit pebbles?
Yeah.
Every time she's constipated.
I think I have IBS, but like the opposite.
Every time she's constipated and she comes out the bathroom. And I'm like, are you released? She goes, it was just a pebble. I was like, the fuck kind of shits do you take?
Well, the hardest part is I'm afraid of laxatives, so I won't take them. I'll just suck it up and live with it.
You're crazy.
I know, it's horrible.
I would pop them laxatives.
Not happening. I'm so afraid of diarrhea, guys. I literally have like a phobia.
They probably laugh at us in other planets.
Okay, I was just gonna say that.
You're like,
I was gonna say, imagine like an alien comes from outer space and comes here and you have to describe what it looks like and they don't use the bathroom. Can you imagine describing that to them?
I know.
And then the wiping process.
It's actually nasty. Like,
we're animals.
this is the worst planet.
It's so ghetto here. What a segue into today's conversation.
For real. That was good.
Every live, I swear we end up talking about poop or farts.
But we always talk about weird shit like that. Some people don't think that deeply.
I think we might just be neurodivergent.
Uh-huh.
Okay, or just a little bit neurospicy.
We question things that like,
it's like
make
we're
no
high,
sense.
but we're not.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk about our relationship because clearly online we're always scrutinized for who we are.
Every time.
Who we show up
But
as,
you know what
we've experienced.
But you know what? It comes with the territory.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're not interesting, no one's talking about you.
100%.
Us just showing up as ourselves, being authentically us, we're a hot topic. Whatever's brought to the internet by other people, it's Rhea and Amber, and we're gonna talk about it, good or bad. Like, they want to engage because it's our name.
In the beginning of our relationship, you remember you having a girlfriend. It was like World War V.
I
know.
was
so bad.
I couldn't even say a name. The fact that I was even interested in a girl, they're like, who is her?
Like, they lost their damn mind.
I don't think people realize how flooded my DMs and my comments, the fan mail that was coming in trying to get me to
marry.
Yes. Or telling me that what they could do for me and they could cook, like, I got so much shit like that.
I never looked at you like that, so I would have never ever guessed that that's what you were experiencing.
Oh, yeah, I was your type.
You were 100, you were
so
made
whatever
for
your
me.
Type is, I was your type.
To the T.
Oh, you were my type.
Didn't not check off one box. Every box was checked off.
I know. That's what I said about you. You were never like thirsty.
Now I'm hearing my true colors are showing.
Your soul has always been the same. You've always had pure intentions in this relationship. You've always,
not just this relationship, but with everyone.
It's been the same. You came in, you didn't judge me, you loved me, supported me, even through the shit that I put you through. My fucking emotional immaturity, my toxicity, because I had no role models growing up to teach me this stuff.
Well, let's talk about that, because I can say I have changed.
Your heart is still the same. People think when you change, your heart changes, or what. Your heart is still so good. You always have pure intention. You never are here to intentionally hurt somebody. You are so self-aware. That's what I needed when you came into the relationship. I needed somebody who was healed enough to understand me. Like, you were very self-aware to understand where I was coming from, and it wasn't like you're just crazy and you weren't just adding to the toxicity. You know, you were just so level-headed and very patient and calm with me to show me. And you didn't have to do that. That's what's crazy. You did not have to do that. It was not your burden, but
yeah, but I loved you. It didn't matter.
I know. I'm just saying. I don't think people understand.
And that's okay. I was genuinely interested in you.
It always was like that.
And then the internet just kind of came along with it. However, I was very like meek and mild in the beginning. I actually went through all of my peace and calming era before I came in a relationship with you. You needed that part of me.
Yeah. You healed completely different than I did.
It was totally opposite.
Your healing journey happened way before me, started way before me.
I'm still healing, And the person that I am today, badass bitch, like my dark feminine era where I stand up for myself now.
That's
like,
what's
shit,
changed
That's
about
what has
you.
changed.
And
you did that for
I
me.
helped you, yes. We've fed off of each other. We've helped each other grow in so many different ways. I've helped you actually set boundaries with me. It started with me, and you showed me that you deserved, you know, the love you put out and that energy you gave me, you wanted it in return. And it was hard for me to give it to you because I was so much in trauma. I didn't understand. I couldn't even give that energy for myself. So I had a hard time. I'm like, how do I love somebody if I don't know how to love myself yet?
Yeah.
And you knew that, but you stayed and
Because I saw your soul. I knew who you were as a person, and inside before you knew it, you were just showing up as the trauma that you had experienced. You brought over what you had experienced from other relationships. You brought over how your dad taught you what love looked like in a relationship. And I challenged that, and you weren't used to that because you were usually met with other toxic partners.
well, I just thought that I was born this way. I didn't realize that was toxic at the time, that's not true.
But there were so many parts of you that weren't toxic. You don't give yourself enough credit.
I know.
There were so many parts of your heart. You always had a soft heart, too soft at times.
Yeah.
You always had good intentions at heart. It's just that you led with toxicity because
I was in survivor mode.
I know you were, and I saw past it.
I know you did, and that's what made me, like, what you saw in me is what motivated me, because I'm like, she knows me. She knows the real me. I just didn't know
how to show
up as that person. So I was very scared.
That's why do you think that I was so forgiving? Why do you think that I was so gentle with you through it? And
I needed that.
Put up with your toxicity because I knew that showing you unconditional love was what was going to soften your heart. And I was okay with taking that part of it.
Yeah.
And I would do it 1,000 times again.
Me too.
So
I really would.
I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say about our relationship on the outside because no one went through what we did together.
I know.
And I'm proud of us for that.
I know. This is why I love you.
People want to talk about how, you know, you've changed and, you know, Amber's controlling and Amber wants to isolate you, and people don't understand what you looked like, how you were literally in survival mode when I first came into a relationship with you. You were like a fucking beaten puppy. You know why they never knew that?
No, I masked it. I showed up as a people pleaser. I just wanted everyone to like me. I didn't even know how to put people in their places sometimes that were rude in my DM. And it was very, I don't know the term of it. Is it kind of like a tendency? I picked up this behavior from my parents. You know, they always people pleased. I learned it from them because it was always like, do what we want. It was never encouraging for us to be ourselves.
You also had a reputation at stake too.
Yes.
So, and you had a lot of pressure on you from social media at the same time.
I did, yeah. I showed up in ego, looking like, look, I made it.
I would show up as like the soccer mom who made it. I was always happy. I was strong. I was powerful. When behind the scenes, I was miserable, unhappy. And I mean, even though you had me, you were still in the trauma era. So that was my trauma era, you know? That was me trying to find myself era. And I wanted people to see me that way. So I think that's how you showed up.
I did
wanted people
too,
to see
because I thought at the time that was successful to me. After being through all the trauma,
it was successful though too.
At the time for me,
yes.
That's what success looked like because I got through all of the turmoil.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I still held on to it.
That you had work to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, I made it, but I really didn't yet.
Yeah.
But I made it through
the hardest part.
I did, but there was still hardship to go through.
Yeah.
I was still in it. I was still living in it. It didn't really technically go away. You know, there was a lot of pain there. I don't think people realize this when they invalidate my experiences online to the point where like they do it's your family, it's this, can you reconcile? Like, I really don't think people get the gravity and the extent of the situation. I'm only speaking this because I know there's other people who go through the same situation. So if you're out here telling people that sentence or saying shit like that, it's so invalidating. You invalidate someone's experience, and it's just so fucked up to me because you've never walked a day in their shoes to say something like that.
I think people don't try to do it with bad intention. I think they
don't hold anybody accountable,
but that's
though.
what I was trying to say. I think people just speak out of projection about how they would handle something because they don't have the strength or the power to be able to cut off communication with somebody like that.
But that's very 3D mindset because it's like, oh, it's just my mom, just my dad. And it's such an enabling behavior because you don't help change that behavior by sitting there and taking it.
I never take it personally what somebody else tells me that I should or shouldn't do. And I do politely educate people and say, you cannot tell someone else how to heal.
That's the difference between you and I get annoyed. I get annoyed because I've been so invalidated
I get it.
And I know you have too, because I'm not saying you haven't, but I've just recently got to a good place, like literally recently, the past few months maybe, and to be invalidated when it comes to my family, it's just infuriating.
I get it.
I'll get there. I'll heal that part of me where I don't really give a fuck. I think it's the stupidity.
You have to remember that everyone speaking is only a projection of how they feel and how they would handle a situation. Same goes for if we're in a dramatic situation like we're in the moment. People are going to choose how they would handle something, and they're going to make their own perception of something.
Actually, that's so true.
And they're going to react the way that they would react in the situation. I was trying to stay on track, and you always get me off track.
That's my ADHD. And yes, I have that. I have ADHD, and people like to overanalyze my body language.
Not just body language, the way you look around.
I literally never understood the obsession in doing something like that. Literally.
The way your brain works, she thinks a thought, and then another thought comes in, so she'll say that thought, and then she'll get completely off track and start a whole new topic. And if you have ADHD, you should be able to recognize that.
I'm always like looking around, like my mind can be somewhere else. Like literally, sometimes that happens.
I think I was saying nobody ever saw the real broken side of you.
No.
I saw you at your worst.
You did.
I went through the pits of hell with you, watching you recount all of your trauma that you went through, like every detail of your trauma. You went into it full force. You went in that Pandora's box that I opened up, and
it was painful.
You took it all on.
It was like a flood, and I felt like I was drowning in it, and I didn't know what to feel first, what to think, and I felt like I was just drowning in it.
Well, that's the hardest part. You still had to show up online.
I did.
You still had
that's what's funny is
a personality to put on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying is people want to talk about how Ria's changed so much. It's because behind the scenes, she was healing through 33 years of intense PTSD shit.
Very deep.
And I was the one getting the brunt of that situation. So yes, you're on screen, you're gonna see a personality that she put on for you. You had to put on a personality for them. So behind the scenes, you're doing all this work and you're slowly shedding ego.
I showed up because it was still easy for me to still do that, you know? I didn't completely shed my ego yet. So when I did that, it was easy to still show up and do that at the same time.
Yeah.
And recognize that I was still healing and I had to work on things. Once I shed my ego, once I was deep into my healing journey, it was hard to show up on the internet anymore. I couldn't even come on doing that anymore.
I don't think anyone who's never done a healing journey would ever understand it until they're in it. And we see so many other big people on Instagram constantly talking about the healing process and how it can be a very fucking lonely process.
Everyone says yes, like that's what I experienced. Like if you haven't done it,
you can't
speak on it.
And you can't understand it.
No, absolutely not. It's super painful, but it's temporary. It's not forever.
So the hardest part for us, especially showing up on social media, is after you do the healing work, right? And then now you're showing up as this healed version of you.
Well, now everybody's like, fucking who the fuck is this bitch? Where did you come from?
Rhea's changed. Amber changed her. It's almost an invalidating, actually it is an invalidating experience.
Yep.
Because they don't fucking know the work that we went through behind the scenes.
And I don't care if they do or don't.
I don't either.
But to tell somebody they've changed as if it's a bad thing is wild to me.
We've seen more love than we have
Yeah.
hate. We've seen
Yeah.
so many people be like, and I even got a DM yesterday and they said, I just want you to know that for the people who've watched from the beginning, seeing Rhea, how she's less reactive, she doesn't get angry online anymore, she like knows how to stay calm and collected when she speaks through a situation that is even heated. And they see the new you as you're showing up. And I
Yeah.
want you to know that even if there's hate associated with it, it's more people who...
I've been flooded with DMs like that. They have seen my growth and they're so proud of me. Like, it's been so beautiful to hear people say how long they've watched me and even get into details about who I used to be. And I'm like, damn, you really have been here.
you know they have.
Yeah. Now I see you doing this, and the way you speak so intellectually, the way you speak on things is so beautiful. Like, I love listening to you speak on your journey and the whole process, because it's actual wisdom. I actually did that. I'm not pulling it out of my ass.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And before, if you asked me, old Rhea, these type of things, I didn't even know how to answer people. How do you heal? I didn't know, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to answer people. So what do I say? I didn't do any healing.
Yeah.
I thought I did my healing by getting over it. I didn't, unalive myself.
Yeah.
I made it that far.
Mm-hmm.
I got through it. So to me, it was like, yay, we're here. I didn't know you had to do the deep in your soul stuff.
Well, that's because most people don't do the hard work.
No.
We had this conversation on live last night and we were like, the only way to get to the place that we're at right now is to relive all of the hardship that you've been trying to put off forever.
Yeah, triggers are gonna happen. You gotta let them happen and you gotta feel them and
it's not
process
pretty.
it.
It's not pretty.
No, because you've suppressed them for so long, and because it's survivor mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to feel the pain. You don't want to be upset or let it hurt you, so you hide these feelings.
The funny part is that it's already hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
They're already upset.
They're just masking.
That's what I'm saying. They're already miserable, uncomfortable, and unhappy in the reality that they're in and in the body that they're in. And what they really don't want to do, and people are not going to want to hear this, is put the work in to show up as a healed person.
Yeah, it is extremely hard.
It's not easy.
It's uncomfortable as fuck.
It's the hardest thing you're ever gonna do.
It's such a mentally exhausting process. There's been so many times where I've wanted to give up.
The test
It
after
was
test.
constant. It was every other day. I never had a break from learning a lesson. I never had a break from a trigger.
And we're talking family-wise.
Yeah, and I was around it constantly, the people who had caused those traumas, continuing to invalidate me over and over, living in it.
You healed in what you call your hell house.
Yeah, that was. I literally was living in a hell house. That's where all my trauma was created. My childhood memories were in, most of them, majority of them. And then to live in it and be triggered continuously over and over, it was wild. I only started to get more aware of them when you came in the picture, because you showed me like, okay, this is a trigger. I'd be fucking reactive.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be fucking pissed. I'd want to punch a hole in the wall. Mm-hmm. And then I was good. And then I got over it and I'm like, whatever.
And I'm like, you could have that's a Band-Aid. Honey.
That's all I ever did. My anger was so bad. I took on my dad's anger really bad. I wouldn't say it was even my dad. It's just me being, my inner children just being so angry that they've never been heard and they've always been invalidated, never been able to express my feelings. So I just suppressed them. Mm-hmm. And that anger built up.
Well, the worst part, like you said, was being in the home while that was happening. And when we finally were able to get out of that home, then we moved into ours and took on other people's toxicity into our home again.
Mm-hmm. It never
so
stopped.
We were actually at a really good point.
I actually thought, I'm sorry to cut you off. I actually thought, all right, we're gonna love people from a distance. This is good. This is probably gonna make relationships better.
And I encouraged that.
Yes, and you were excited about it too, because you tried so hard to mend relationships. You tried so hard to help heal people in the home with me.
I wanted you
so badly because I wanted it so
Yes.
badly, and
Yes.
you seeing me hurt.
I
so
wanted
badly
you to
that I
have what you wanted
I know.
so badly.
I know you did. That's why I get frustrated, and that's why I can't help but fucking defend you to a T, because you genuinely love me so hard that you just wanted me to be completely happy and have what I wanted. And what I wanted was my family to heal with me and finally see and recognize their wrongs and just grow. And then when actions
stop.
show differently, it hurt.
The
over and over.
invalidation, the emotional manipulation,
It was
the
constant.
toxicity.
Like that,
and so there was a point where I was like, I was tired of seeing your boundaries stepped over constantly.
I'd be the same way with you. If people did it with you, I didn't like it, and I voiced that.
I didn't like seeing the emotional manipulation to force you to forgive something when there was never validation.
There was never a conversation. It was
There was
just
never a
like, get over
conversation,
it.
or your emotions were never validated, and you were
No.
forced to apologize for things you never even did.
Exactly. Because I stood my ground and I voiced my feelings, I was the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I continue to be in those situations, and I'm sick of it. I'm done being the one to be blamed for everyone else's actions.
Which is why you've set your boundaries.
100%. There's no reason to go any deeper than that. People don't need to understand the stories, the details of like the conversations. It really is that. It gets years and years and years of that type of darkness. It builds up, and you're done. My threshold was done.
Well, there was a point where you were such a people pleaser, and you would allow it back in over and over and over. There was a point where it's like, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
When is your mental health more important than you allowing someone back in to make them happy? It was never making you happy, it was making them happy.
I was always, let's make everyone else happy, and I never chose myself. All that shit ended up hurting you, because I would end up getting hurt every time, and you would have to pick up the pieces, and that was not fair. Me getting hurt over and over by the people around me, the outsiders, and you're just like, Rhea, and you're hurt because you love me and you don't want to see that.
Never.
So you're just like,
And I've always said, I will always give you my opinion because I love you. So I'm gonna tell you.
no, if you don't, I don't want you.
I'm gonna tell you my opinion,
Please
and then
do.
you take it as you choose, and then you get your lesson. And the hardest part for me was, I knew when I would do that I would get the backlash of you choosing to get your lesson. And I still fucking sat by. So when people want to say how controlling I am, you have no clue what I experienced in this relationship
Deadass.
with having zero control.
Deadass. I'm sorry I keep cutting you off. You actually experienced trauma as well that we had to heal together after we moved out of what you experienced in that home. So I had to take complete accountability and work to create a safe space for her so she can finally break down, because she's always been the strong one.
You said how you never chose yourself, and that's where you were at, even at the end of us before we moved here.
Yeah.
And so that's the person that you were still, and everyone saw, even your family. They always saw Rhea as
Pleasing everybody.
you're there. She's gonna, no matter what, this is how she'll react. This is how she'll behave. They're very
But
used to your behavior.
That's what people think a good person does. They just bend the knee to everybody. They just do as everybody feels. So every person has a different thing they want, right? So they want this version of you. That person wants that version of you. So you're never yourself. You're always pretending to be somebody else just to appease them. And to be honest, it's never enough.
I know that.
There's always a problem. So it doesn't matter how much you appease them, you still get fucked with.
100%. So when we came here, we were like, okay, this is gonna be it.
This is gonna be healthy.
This is gonna be it. We get healthy
do
love.
it.
We get to finally actually pay attention to our relationship.
Alone in our own private home.
We worked so hard to get here.
Got brought into our home. I thought my family drama was gonna just be far, and I got to pick and choose when I wanted to deal with it, but then I allowed it in my home. Because I
we
really
have good
wanted to
hearts.
help somebody. I wanted to be there for somebody who needed me the most during their dark times, and I'm not regretful of that.
No,
I
I'm
still
not
am
either.
regretful
No,
of
never.
what we chose to do.
Never. I will never be regretful for doing something that's right, or for doing something
Out of the kindness of our heart.
with
literally
expecting nothing in return.
nothing. Literally.
Except for reciprocation.
That's
and that's
it.
all I've ever
But
asked
that's how it
for.
should be
With everything.
everything.
I'll give you my emotional energy.
But I want the same in return. Like you said, action.
Yes.
Show me that you're here. You're here for me when I need you to. And
Right. And that my name is safe with you when I'm not
Exactly,
around.
always.
We went through all of that and we came out shining. We had been through Hell House. It kind of felt like we were done with our healing. But we knew that wasn't true.
No.
I mean, you knew you still had
but
so
it
far
was
to
so
go.
magical. I mean, we
It still felt
moved
so
out.
good.
It felt so good because the dark energy.
Yeah, we pulled that dark energy here.
Yeah.
The energy in our home over the past year has been so heavy that I almost ended up in the hospital a few times.
A few
because of
times.
How sick it
actually.
made
You
me.
were really sick. It was actually scary.
And people don't know that part of us because we still showed up on the internet when we could, when we found the energy
I know.
to do it.
I know, I get messages all the time, like, Ria, where you been? Or comment in my comments once I post a video, they're like, you need to start posting more. And I'm like, y'all don't get it. Like, we haven't showed up on live. We stopped doing lives completely for such a long time. We stopped connecting with people. We couldn't.
Because we had no energy to give.
No, we had none.
We had
literally.
we were giving so much of our energy within our home and working on our healing that even toxicity pulled into our relationship again.
Yeah.
And it was like we thought we had gotten away from that, and here we were again.
I had a lot of healing to do. I'm gonna be completely honest. I had so much healing to do with my communication style. Being emotionally mature, I still didn't know how to do that yet either. And I was learning that.
But you needed your triggers. You needed the lessons that you've gone through over the past year for you to even know how to do that.
Exactly.
I think everything happens as
Everything
it should.
happens as it should, and I'm literally grateful for all of it. I learned through that to really communicate with you and validate you, and not like and explain myself out of something. I just need to sit here and just listen and just say, I hear you, I love you, like your feelings are valid. And it's so simple. For me, I always felt the need to explain myself.
That's a trauma response.
It is. I've never been hurt, but I'm like, I hurt her and I need to listen to her because she's hurt right now. It's not about me. And it took me such a long time to shed that part of me. And I don't think people understand.
It wasn't until a few months ago.
So to people, especially if we thought we had safe spaces around certain people, to those people, it's like, toxic because we had arguments. It's true. We dealt with a lot. We really did. We really took on other people's load of, it's like became our burden. Their healing, people's issues became our issues.
But we did it because we allowed it and we wanted to because we loved people.
I know.
And so I'll never be regretful of that. It's part of our character to love people unconditionally. And I think we've learned through this that you have to be more careful with who you give your energy to.
Yeah, that's why we're so outspoken. We're trying to show people
what it looks like to heal.
It's not, but it's so beautiful. We're trying to show the beauty in it, even though it's painful as fuck. But it ends eventually, and lessons become less painful. They don't hurt as bad because you see them as like, all right, what the fuck do I gotta learn now? What am I missing here?
Yeah.
Instead of, what the fuck did they do to me? Like, they hurt me. That type of shit. Process it, but we do not hang on to it very long. We fucking let go.
But that's where we're at now. Now we've gotten to the point where we can do that and push through it and like still show up as who we are while we're experiencing a very traumatic lesson.
For real.
People can make accusations and they can be on the outside
overanalyze
us and want to make up their own conclusions to who they think we are and what we are, and that comes with the territory.
We don't care.
That also comes with healing, and people want to look at healing that you don't stand up for yourself, you stay quiet, you allow the universe to handle everything.
Or they act like you think you're better than. That's what's the most fucking annoying.
Nobody gets to tell you what healing looks like for you. No one. And in my experience, and this is what I've heard so many gurus speak on, that standing in your power, being authentic, and not being afraid of how you'll look to other people when you stand in your power, that's healing.
Exactly.
Being genuine and fucking speaking from the heart and knowing your heart is pure and trusting that intuition.
Amen.
And that's where we're at.
Exactly.
And I'll never back down from that. You're never gonna take me down from where I'm at.
No, for fucking real. I love you. This was a good conversation.
I'm just so proud of who we are today, and I'll keep fucking saying that until the end of time. And I know that
you're gonna cry again. You're gonna make me cry. I love you. You're so. Everybody should have a fucking Amber in their life. I wish everybody an Amber.
I know that even though it's hard, this is only just a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. Something bigger.
Something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I can fucking say thank you to people who've hurt me. At this point, I can say thank you for teaching me how to stand up for myself and teaching me how to set even firmer boundaries.
I know these are like happy tears.
I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of where we've come and how much darkness we've gotten through, and still to be able to maintain our light and still be
show up
so focused on helping other people. Like,
exactly.
You can't say that about a lot of people. That's someone's character. You can't fake character.
Yes, true. Fuck the analyzers, all of a sudden, the body language police, and the ones who think they know us and our relationship.
It's never going to work.
No. This is for everything.
It's only getting stronger through
for
this.
Real.
I think they wanted us to fall apart bad, but you don't know that this actually makes us
every time
closer. Not only do I want to address the people who want us to have our downfall, I want to say how grateful I am for our support system. You have become our family.
Literally. We've always said that though.
But now more than ever, I've never experienced the amount of love and outpouring of support that I have recently, and I'm just so grateful for it. And still even grateful through my pain to see how many lives we're affecting through it. And I know that's why this is happening, and it makes it worth it.
Genuinely, I have so many people thanking me for sharing and for standing up for myself, for showing us what healthy boundaries look like and allowing us to share that with them.
Yeah.
There's so many people whose lives were changing just by being authentic. And that's the funny part for me is we've always been that.
Always.
And we're nothing to hide. It's like we've never painted ourselves to be this perfect relationship like other people think because they see a few 20-second videos or whatever on the internet, the content that we post. Yes, you see happy all the time on the internet, but behind the scenes, there's also work we do.
But I think when we used to go live a lot, we talked about that as well.
All the time.
That's why people look up to our relationship, and they always have. And I'll never forget that. I know why we're here, and I know why we have the following we have. We're not just here being superficial and saying, oh, I'm pretty, so watch me.
We can do. We get so many views just fucking sitting there
but
being
that's
pretty.
the fucked up part, right? We're multifaceted.
Mm.
We don't just come up here and present ourselves one way. We're gonna be real, raw, authentic, and fucking care about the people that follow us. It's not just...
Yeah, we want to give them something.
That's what I'm saying. We genuinely
add value
give a
to your
fuck
life.
to the people who are on our platforms.
I want to add value to your life. I want to give you something, even though you don't know me personally, through the lens you see in my life. The good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay.
But we also you've learned to transmute your fucking pain and turn that into power and show people to not be afraid of that fucking rage and passion that you have inside you.
It's so funny.
Stand in it.
And it's so funny how people get so judgy and triggered when you're not crying and you're in it. Like, don't fuck with me. If you get disrespectful, I'll disrespect you tenfold.
Like, fuck around and find out.
That, be the bigger person. Why do I have to be the bigger person?
That's like telling someone to allow their abuser to get off scot-free. You don't ever tell someone to silence themselves. That is so
weird.
Toxic. That's toxic positivity.
I know. But why do I have a platform?
You're healing.
Whatever. You're trying to put that standard on me as what's the bigger I am being the bigger person, and I am by telling my truth.
Right.
I'm not out here like causing a circus.
Yeah.
And
making up lies.
Making up lies about people.
Causing drama.
I'm not bringing people's name into anything. I literally have been just moving on with my life, focusing on my family and my peace in my home and just sharing it with the world. Don't tell me to be a bigger person because I'll just stand in my power because I look like the bad guy because I look powerful.
And that's okay. And that's what healing looks like for you.
For me.
You can't take that away.
I know.
And we're going to continue to show up as those people, and more people are going to get triggered. And you want to know what? I know I'm doing my job. I know that I'm healing. I know that I'm growing the more people that I trigger.
It comes
And I'm
with the
okay with
territory.
that. I'll be your fall girl.
I think when I got this platform, I so badly wanted everybody to just like me. And now it's like, I don't care what I say. I know I'm passionate about it. It's my wisdom. This is me. Take me as I am. If you don't like me, I don't fucking care.
Yeah, but
the door is right there.
Your heart is good.
My heart is good. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I show up as me now. So if you don't like me, then you're not meant to be here. I'm not that person that you created in your head about me, that you didn't even know me. I just gave you bits and pieces of my life. You created that. I didn't create that. But I'm showing up as me 100%.
Take me or leave me, bitch.
If you don't like it, if you don't like me, you gotta get the...
There's the door.
There's the door, bitch. It's that simple. I don't care if you don't like me. Valid. Your feelings are valid.
But you know how big, you want to talk about healing, bitch? That is the biggest part of healing. When you release your fear of judgment.
It's not my responsibility to make other people happy. It's really not. It's my responsibility to make myself happy and focus on me. And if that triggers you, you got some shit to work on. It's not, I didn't do shit to you. You're just getting mad at me for existing.
When you have the courage to be disliked, that's
some courageous shit. Standing in your power and knowing not everyone's gonna like
100%.
you. Knowing that the drama might come to you. Knowing all of this and still being like, okay.
Yeah.
Because you
make
know
up
who
your
you are.
own narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, I've like heard stories about myself that I had no clue about, and I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. Cool. Before I would have been so triggered by it and hurt because I wanted people to see who I
you
truly
in the
was.
beginning, definitely.
Like my heart, you know, like I'm such a good person, and now I'm like, if they know I'm a good person, they'll know I'm a good person. You can make up your own narrative. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. The people that we have around us, that's all that matters. And our support system on the internet who have been there, who will continue to be there and support us, we love them too. So
listen, we're raising strong, independent, fucking badass children, and they are gonna be so confident to stand in their power. And they're gonna have a voice, and they're gonna know who they are, and they're not gonna let anybody fucking walk all over them. And for that, I am so proud of us. So you can't take that from me.
I think that's it for now.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it resonates with you. And we're just so grateful you give us this safe space to have these conversations.
That's coffee time with Rhea and Amber.
See you next time.
Don't forget your damn mugs.
Okay.
Okay, love you guys.
Bye.
Mwah.